The things that make Centerville special are the heart and the soul of this city. It's not the per capita income, and it's not the average price of the housing stock in this community. Rather, the most important thing about a community is the character and the compassion and the giving of its residents. Tom Brokaw, who is, of course, you all know, a newsman who's been around for many years, when I was preparing these remarks, I always looked to find quotes that try to express the value of volunteering. And he said something recently that really touched me, and I wanted to share it with you. He said that it is very easy to make a buck, but it's a lot tougher to make a difference. And I think everyone in this room, you're here tonight because you have made a difference. You've shown in all the different ways that you volunteer, all the different organizations, all the different committees, all the different things that you give to this community. You've given your time and your talent and your gifts when you didn't have to, but you did it because, like all of us on council, all of us in the city staff, you love this community. You made a huge difference. And the main thing I want to do tonight on behalf of my colleagues in City Council and on behalf of the city staff is just to say thank you. Just to say how much we appreciate what you've done, how much we understand and how much we acknowledge what you've given. Because I think all of you in your own way and using your own talents and your own gifts are very, very special to this community, both because of who you are and because of what you did, and also because of the impact that you've had on this city that I love, and I know all of us in this room love as well. I say almost every time when we have these annual events something that I believe is true, and it's in my heart, and it is that volunteering to me is the ultimate exercise of citizenship. You, all of us, hopefully vote in elections every 2 years, and that's obviously very important. But when a person volunteers, you're really voting every single day about the kind of community that you want to live in, and the kind of community that you want to give to our children and our grandchildren. When you actually vote on the ballot box, you're choosing the people you want to represent you. And I'm obviously happy you do that. But when you volunteer, you're really taking direct control yourself. You're having a direct influence on what matters most to you individually. And I think that sense of initiative and selflessness is what makes this community so unique and what makes this community so great. The bottom line is that what you do matters. It has made a huge impact on the quality of life in this community, and all of us at the city are very, very grateful for that. We've got a lot to celebrate tonight in addition to all of you as individuals. This is the 30th year that the city has actually held these business appreciation breakfasts. Or breakfast, here I'm next to the next meal already. The business appreciation dinners. Actually, former Mayor Shirley Hines started this and created this tradition in 1985. So that's how far back it goes. This is also, of course, the 30th anniversary of the mayor being giving the Mayor's Award for Community Service. And we'll get to that later on. That's always an amazing thing. It's a tough decision, as it is this year, as it is every year, because there are so many good people to choose from. It's very difficult to single out one, but of course, we think that that's a meaningful thing to do. This is also the 20th anniversary of the golf club at Yankee Trace, which is kind of an amazing thing. I think Brooks and I were probably the only two that were around when that happened, that are still alive and kicking on council. But it's an amazing institution here, and that also happened because of the leadership of Shirley Hines and of the city council and the city manager, Mr. Horn, and the staff who was there at the time. It's also the 20th anniversary of the Friends of Benham's Grove, and the Friends, many of whom are in attendance, just do a tremendous job beautifying Benham's Grove and keeping that wonderful facility just a shining example of what the city, what the public can do, and it is supported by the people. Now, in addition to those great anniversaries that we've got to celebrate, we've also got a lot of individual celebrations. People in this room who have dedicated years and years of volunteering service to the community. And one of the things we get to do is to give a small token of appreciation for that we actually have service pins for those of you who are celebrating your 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 35 years of service. And we're going to do something a little different this year. I wanted to bring up those who, one by one, the folks who are getting those service pins. And I really would like all of my colleagues from City Council, if they'd be so kind to come on up here, because it's the very least that we can do, in addition to me giving a pin to these folks one by one, to have everyone on council to have an opportunity to shake their hands and to thank them. So, colleagues, if you could come on up. Joe tells us we're supposed to line up over here, because I always follow whatever the videographer says to do. It turns out to be a nice thing. Hi, John. We're going to start with those who have achieved 5 years of service. And John, if you could hand me just one of those service pins there, that'd be great. Thank you, sir. First, I wanted to invite up, actually, this is someone that instead of a handshake, he might actually give Belinda a kiss. Robert Kenley. I'll let you pin it on yourself.
Thanks. John?
Howard, congratulations.
Hey, John.
Good to see you.
Hi, Darwin.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Thanks. You get one hug and kiss per council member, so we'll see. Tim Myers is also celebrating his 5th anniversary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
John, give me one more of those. Thank you, sir. Karen Beal, 5 years on the City Beautiful Commission. Would you like to make a speech? No, I'm just kidding.
500 years ago, we were late.
I know, we were really.
Richard Hoback from the Board of Architectural Review.
What's your age?
Oh, thanks, John. Thanks. Tom Wheeler from City Beautiful.
Tom, congratulations, man. Good for you.
Amy Kareni Boat from the Planning Commission. I kind of laughed when I found you all the way in the back. Oops. Hold on here, John. Let me get the right ones. Yeah, there's different. So 22. Hold on here. So we need the 10 years, right? We're not a really smoothly functioning. We thought these are all the same, but they have different years on them. So hold on here. 10 years, Jamie Garrett, Board of Architectural Review. Oh, is Jamie not here? All right. Next, someone that I think we all know very well, Paul Heinz, the Finance Department.
Oh, yeah.
How are you?
Next, for 15 years of service, Carolyn Bassford, Sister City.
There we go.
Bill Boland, civic volunteer in the police department. I guess Bill's not here, I guess, right? I think you'd mentioned that, but I wanted to recognize him. We'll make sure he gets the pin. Jim Briggs, Planning Commission. Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much.
Another great service we got here. Another good Rotarian.
Not unless you want him to, but. Patricia Fleisner, Friends of Benham's Grove. Where's she at? Oh, there you go. Next is Marilyn Hoback, Sister City.
I'm proud of you. Proud of you.
Is there another pen over there, John? Yeah. Thank you. Next, 20 years of service, John Koonts. John was an original volunteer at Yankee Trace. No, we're fine. We're fine. Hey, John.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're very welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, Paul, can you give me the blue certificate there? Yeah, thanks. Now, we have one person who has actually been here 35 years. And we figured for 35 years, we should do something more than just a pin. So we have an official certificate of recognition signed by the mayor himself. But we will also get a pin. But I just wanted, 35 years is such an extraordinary accomplishment. So I wanted to invite up Sue Peary, Friends of Benham's Grove.
Glad I know you.
Proud of you. Sue, I'll let you. Gotta keep your certificate. You can't go by without your certificate, for heaven's sakes. Well, thank you, colleagues. I appreciate you coming on up here. I would be remiss also, ladies and gentlemen, if I didn't mention that Jim Wasson, who, of course, many of us knew. Jim also served with the city for 35 years. As you probably know, he passed away just several weeks ago. But again, he had served with the Property Review Commission and the Finance Committee. And our thoughts and prayers, obviously, are with his family. Jim was very dedicated and gave just a tremendous amount of time to the city, and I wanted to honor him. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the point where I get the real great honor of announcing the winner of the Mayor's Award for Community Service. As I mentioned earlier, this is always a very, very difficult decision to make. We have such a wealth of people in this community who really give to the city, and the process is that nominations come into me from all the different boards and commissions and the groups nominating the people that they think should be considered for this. And every single year I get those, and I sit there and I scratch my head and think, how in the world are you supposed to pick one person to get the honor? But of course, even though it's tough, I mean, we try to do that. And so, as I mentioned before, this is the 20th time that the mayor of Centerville is announcing a winner for the award for community service. And the person that, well, it's interesting to note that, as I mentioned, we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of Yankee Trace, because the person that we are honoring tonight is someone who started his volunteer experience with the city in that same year of 1995. The winner he had just retired from his position as a guidance counselor, and he was looking in the way of all great volunteers to give back to his community, the community that he loved. And not only did he love the community, but he also loved to play golf, and he loved the game of golf. And given that Centerville had just opened up a brand new golf course, well, as you might suspect, one thing led to another. This individual decided that it was a match made in heaven, and that he would very soon, almost as soon as the golf course was open, sign up to become one of the very first volunteers at Yankee Trace. He was originally from New Lexington, Ohio, but he landed at the University of Dayton to study education. In 1963, his Army ROTC commitment led him to a post as a medical supply officer at the lovely site of Fort Lewis, Washington. I don't know if you've ever been there, but if you have, you would know that's a joke. Upon his return to the Midwest, he pursued a master's degree in guidance and counseling at Ohio University, and I am told that to this very day he is a diehard Bobcat. So those, there are applause. So I will say no more. But over his 20 years of service to the city and the golf course, we calculated that he spent 2,300 hours, volunteer hours, and he spends his time repairing divots, some of the worst of which were probably made by me, maintaining the greens and dropping sand, working at the sand traps at the golf course. 2 days a week at the crack of dawn, he arrives at the maintenance building to pick up the tools and supplies needed for his work during the day. He spends the morning helping making the greens greener and keeping the course in the tip-top condition that it is. A couple of years ago, he started volunteering as a greeter and a player assistant, which gives him the opportunity to run into many of the former students that he taught who are now out enjoying the golf course. And for several years during the off-season, the off-golf season, he also volunteers at the city building, joining the group that labels the town crier. He's also volunteered with the police department for a number of special projects over the years. He and his wife, who is a retired teacher, volunteer together. They pick up donated food each week from grocery stores and deliver it to food pantries throughout the community. And for several years, they took part in the honor flight by convoy, transporting World War II veterans to Washington, D.C., so that they have an opportunity to visit the World War II Memorial. The people who nominated him use words like hardworking, friendly, dedicated, enthusiastic, and they tell me that he is quite a storyteller. Perhaps we'll hear some of that tonight, and they use that to describe him. And the fact is that the winner of the award tonight exemplifies the spirit and the commitment of the city's volunteer program. So it's my pleasure to present the 2015 Mayor's Award for Community Service to John Koonts. we've got, to John's hopefully surprise and congratulations, John, along with his wife Pat, are here with their daughter Jennifer and grandsons Ryan and Titus.
I'm stunned. I've got to first of all thank that man back there in the back, Terry Taylor. Last year I had to tell Terry that I had to give up doing the course maintenance because I just had rotator cuff surgery in February and I'm still recovering from that, and I switched over to the greeter, player assistant, everything in that area. I wish my other grandson was here too, Ryan, because Maureen can go back and repeat what I feel was a very nice time at the Christmas gathering here. She allowed Ryan, who was about probably 5 or 6 at that time, to come and draw the names of the winners at that event in at the Christmas time. I've been very blessed. I have a great family, my stepdaughter, Jennifer, and this is her youngest, Titus, who's a 4th grader over at West Carrollton, and my other grandson, Ryan, is a 17-year-old trumpet player in the band at West Carrollton, an excellent student, and we're so very proud of him. I want to thank all of you for recognizing me, and I see Steve over there. I don't know, I'm just shocked, and I grew up in Appalachia in southeastern Ohio. I've had a lot of mentors in my life. The first one was my high school track coach, Bob Fowle, who drove 50 miles from Columbus to New Lexington, St. Aloysius to coach basketball and every other sport. In 1954, we won the state Class B state basketball championship, which alternated between Cleveland and Cincinnati at that time. There was another guy by the name of Jerry Lucas, whose team from Middletown won the Class A that year. I was very fortunate over the 4 years I was at high school. My sister was a cheerleader for that 1954 team. But I was fortunate to have a young man by the name of Bob Fowle who drove that 50-mile one-way back home every night, 100 miles from Columbus, Ohio to New Lexington in Perry County. And he was my first mentor. He saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And it got me to a state championship in track, where I ran the 440. I was a high and low hurdler, also a long jump, and ran the mile relay and so forth. I was a basketball official here in the city of Dayton for 25 years. I feel that I have given back. My wife and I had one of the greatest experiences, and it was mentioned, the honor flight. I, along with 6 other veterans, with our motorhomes, took World War II vets over to see their memorials in Washington, D.C., beginning in 2008. And it was one of the most rewarding times, because when you would see American families come up to you, and the one I remember more vividly than any other one was a man, 91 years of age, from Miamisburg. When he came down out of the hotel room that Saturday morning, he had his uniform on that he wore. He survived the second wave at Omaha Beach. And he was in a wheelchair, and I had the honor of pushing him through that World War II memorial, and of course we went to all the other ones. But you would see young families come up and say, "Can I have my 6-year-old have his picture taken with this gentleman?" And they would do that. And the mother would come over to myself and say, "They don't know what it means, what he did and all the other veterans did, but we will make sure that he never forgets." Thank you very much. I've said enough.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, I thank you on behalf of the City Council and the city staff for all that you've done. This is a great city, and because of you all, it's going to be even better. I've said before, our best years are still in front of us, and I believed it when I first said it 20 years ago when I was running, and I mean it today. So thank you all very much. I'll see you all next year, and let's keep up the good work. Thanks so much. Take care.